invocation. And welcome dear devotees. Before we begin, in order to ensure removal of all obstacles, we'll perform Mangalacharan, auspicious invocations. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurumilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Vishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Ravita Shri Vishakam Vitamsya Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Veshatarine Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Govesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai, Devotee Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Panchabhihi sah sthathavyam gantavyam panchabhihi sah vaktavyam na dukkham panchabhihi sah. Panchabhihi sah sthathavyam. If you wish to stay at one place, stay with at least 5 people. That way, if you have an argument with someone, you have 4 other people to talk to. Gantavyam panchabhihi sah. If you travel somewhere, travel with at least 5 people. If you fall into some difficulty, there are 5 people to take care of you. And panchabhihi sah vaktavyam. If you want to speak something, there should be at least how many people? 5. Oh my goodness, so many are here. So na dukkham panchabhihi sah. There's absolutely no unhappiness. There's all joy if at least 5 are present. And what to speak if more than 50 are present. My joy is multiplied hundreds of times. Thank you dear devotees for kindly being present here. Simply by your presence, the entire event is successful. Otherwise, what would I have done here alone sitting, dear devotees? They wouldn't even have given me a mic if I would be sitting here alone. They know my value is only when all of you are present. So you know my weakness. My weakness is that I am only successful when a like-minded audience is present. Alright? So dear devotees, all of you are present here and all of you are of utmost importance in the success of what I have to say. Thank you so much for kindly being present here. I am very grateful to each and every one of you. Dear devotees, we are continuing the series on the fundamentals of Sri Krishna-smarana. These are only the fundamentals. Believe me, there are entire manuals written on Sri Krishna-smarana, and that cannot be covered in a 3-part seminar. Therefore, I am very honestly naming it the fundamentals of Sri Krishna-smarana. Yesterday, we saw how Sri Krishna-smarana is defined by our previous acharyas and how Sri Krishna-smarana is also a part of Vaidhi Bhakti, daily regulated practice of Bhakti. It is not something which is to be done only after a certain stage in life. In fact, you can do it every morning. And Maharaj did a surprise check today, and we found out that 10% of the students have passed. So the remaining students have to give the exam again tomorrow. So I hope that tomorrow morning, Bhagwan will remind all of us that you have to remember. Bhagwan will remember us and remind us that you have to remember me. Wake up, Hari Parshad. You have to remember me. So then, dear devotees, I hope tomorrow morning when we wake up, the first thing that we will do is Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Keshava, Krishna, Keshava, Krishna, Keshava, Pahi Mam, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rakshama. This is basic level 1, and then further advancement to level 2 is when we are able to recollect that verse. Alright, we showed a verse yesterday. I will sing that verse. Those of you who know the verse, sing along with me. Jayati Janani Vaso Devaki Janma Vado Yaduvara Parishad Svair Durvirasyanna Dharmam Sthirachara Vrijinagna Susmitam Shri Mukhena Vrajapura Vanitanam Vardhayan Kamadevam. So this is level 2. The devotees gradually we are progressing from level 1 to level 2. It is all very sweet. Sri Krishna-smarana, very sweet. You can have your assorted box of selected chocolates of Smaranam every morning. So think of it as an assorted box of chocolates, and you can make your own personal selection and have it every morning, and you can also change from time to time. Alright? Now I want a different verse, not Jayati Janani Vaso. I'll have another verse now. Alright? No problem at all. Dear devotees, we are on the path of Smaranam, and when we remember a beloved, actually speaking, in loving Smaran, there are no fixed rules and regulations. But just to encourage devotees on the path, rules and regulations are given. Just as a person who's unable to walk properly, they give some walking, support. So that is given for a person who's unable to walk, but when a person is finally able to walk by themselves, then they can select whichever direction they wish to walk in. Please look at it in this way, and in this way, dear devotees, our Smaran will become much more effective. Sri Rupa Goswami is going to ask a very important question. Yesterday we had a sort of a battle between two limbs. Which were the two limbs, dear devotees? Sankirtan and Smaran. And actually it's not exactly a battle, but it is presented in some way like that in the Brihad Bhagavatamritam. Some sort of a tension between Smaranam and Kirtanam is obviously shown in the Brihad Bhagavatamritam, and we could see that by the statements of the Navayogendra and Shri Pipalayan, and by the statements of the residents of Vaikuntha. Obviously this is because devotees like to take sides, and devotees also like to lobby. Kirtan is the best, Smaran is the best. Dear devotees, today Maharaj spoke of limbs of bhakti. How many limbs of bhakti did Maharaj mention? 9. In actuality, how many limbs of bhakti are there? See, there is no consensus even on this simple point. How many limbs of bhakti are there? Alright. So I told you all masala is not garam masala. Alright? This is a living proof of that, dear devotees. All of us have different answers already in our mind. And there's a very famous quote by an American movie producer that if two people think exactly the same things at the same time, then you don't need two people. You need actually only one person. So it's very obvious that all of us are going to have different answers, yet we have respect for the answer that Sri Rupa Goswami has given. So let's find out how many limbs of bhakti are there in the direct words of our Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who 64, alright? Somebody is still vouching for 64, let's say. If Sri Rupa Goswami agrees with them, please repeat after me. Hari Bhakti Vilasesya Hari Bhakti Vilasesya Bhakti Rangani Lakshasha Bhakti Rangani Lakshasha Kintu Tani Prasiddhani Nirdishyante Yathamati Hari Bhakti Vilase, we can recognize he is speaking about a literature. Which literature is that, dear devotees? Hari Bhakti Vilas. Asya, of this lady, because Bhakti is not masculine, Bhakti is feminine. So Asya, for this Bhakti, Bhakter, Asya Bhakter, this Bhakti has Angani, limbs. How many limbs? Lakshasha. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, there are millions of limbs of Bhakti described. Dear devotees, would you like to know some of the millions of limbs of Bhakti?
Yes.
Following Nirjala Ekadashi is one limb of Bhakti. Doing Kirtan on Nirjala Ekadashi is another limb of Bhakti. Doing circumambulation of Bhagwan's temple on Nirjala Ekadashi is the third limb of Bhakti. I hope you are able to understand. In this way, you take permutations and combinations of the various limbs of Bhakti described in Hari Bhakti Vilas, you will end up with millions. So Lakshashaha, by the millions. Kintu, however, since this is not Hari Bhakti Vilas, since this is Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu that he is writing, Tani Prasiddhani, amongst the millions I am highlighting the Prasiddha. What is the meaning of Prasiddha? The well-known ones. Nirdishyante Yathamati, according to my intelligence. So Sri Rupa Goswami says he is doing it according to his intelligence. In the 64 limbs of Bhakti, some limbs have been repeated twice. Especially at the end, some limbs have been repeated twice so that we can get to an auspicious number. What is that auspicious number? 64. But dear devotees, in actuality, there are millions of limbs of Bhakti. Do we have Gaur Krishna Prabhu here? Or he is at the back? Oh, no Prabhu, you see, I will ask somebody else today. Okay. Prabhu, can you read the translation of...
In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, millions of limbs of Bhakti have been described. However, in this literature, Hari Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, only the 64 prominent ones are being described according to my intelligence.
So dear devotees, you can select any of the limbs of Bhakti according to your choice, but this is not my statement, dear devotees. How do we decide which limb of Bhakti is applicable for us and which limb of Bhakti is not applicable for us? Because all of us have a favorite limb of Bhakti. Some are favorers of Kirtanam, some are favorers of Smaranam, and then what do we do about it? Dear devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami is going to give the answer so that we don't end up creating institutions around limbs of Bhakti. I hope you are able to understand that this is the limb of Bhakti that you need to perform. Otherwise, you cannot be successful. So, dear devotee, Sri Rupa Goswami therefore says, Sa Bhakti Reka Mukhyanga Shrita Naikangika Thava Sa Bhakti, that lady named Bhakti, Eka Mukhyanga, she can be executed by taking shelter of Eka Anga. What is Eka Anga? One limb you can take shelter of. Or Shrita Aneka Angika Athava, or you can take shelter of multiple limbs of Bhakti. Question is, who gets to decide which limb I should select and which limb I should not select? So Sri Rupa Goswami gives an answer in the remaining half of the verse. Please repeat after me. Svavasananusarena Nishthatah siddhikrit bhave Svavasana. Dear devotees, Rupa Goswami says, Such a bhakti executed in a dedicated manner according to swa vasana. Swa means one's own and vasana means innate tendencies. So you have the freedom to execute bhakti according to your innate tendencies, but please note, we might have fixed some vows with the Guru that we will execute certain amount of japa, that we will execute certain amount of deity worship. We might have taken a vow with the Guru. After we complete our prescribed vow, then this verse is applicable for you, dear devotees. Swavasana anusarena. Then you can spend the rest of the hours of the day in any of the 64 limbs of bhakti that you desire according to your choice. There is absolutely no restriction in this regard. Sri Rupa Goswami has said, dear devotees, and whatever Sri Rupa Goswami says is applicable to all the Rupanugas. How many Rupanugas here, dear devotees? Please raise your hands. Oh wow. Please check who is not raising his hand.
What is Rupanuga?
Yeah, what is Rupanuga? What is Rupanuga? At least a person who, like me, at least theoretically says that I wish to follow in the footsteps of Sri Rupa Goswami, or at least a person who theoretically wishes to follow, or a person who is at least initiated in a lineage which comes from Sri Rupa Goswami. How many here are initiated in a lineage which comes directly from Sri Rupa Goswami? See? So by Diksha already they are Rupanuga, and by our practice also we wish to become Rupanuga Vaishnavas. So this is what he is giving their devotees. When an Acharya gives us freedom like this, he is giving us freedom by putting trust in us. Please try to understand. Here is where the Acharya is putting trust in our capabilities. And when the Guru puts trust in the capabilities of the disciple, actually it is a big responsibility upon the disciple that they will make sure that they will not break the trust of their Guru. Which means they will spend the rest of their day as much as possible trying to execute any limb of bhakti according to their innate desires. So this, dear devotees, is the trust that Sri Rupa Goswami has given you. It's a very good Guru who trusts the disciple, and it's a very good disciple who trusts the Guru. And when there is mutual trust between the Guru and disciple, and both of them live up to the trust, there is nothing as good as it. So this is what Sri Rupa Goswami has gifted us, his trust, and he expects that we will live up to his trust. Otherwise, he could have easily said that only execute the first 10 primarily. But no, he has given us the freedom. Dear devotees, therefore, when Sri Rupa Goswami says that you can execute bhakti in any way and it can give you perfection, he also gives examples of devotees who have attained perfection through each of these processes. This verse is in the meter Shardul Vikriditam, same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Kindly sing after me. Shri Vishnu Shravane Parikshita Bhavan Vaiyasaki Kirtane.
Shri Vishnu Shravane Parikshita Bhavan Vaiyasaki Kirtane.
Prahlada Smarane Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi Prathu Pujane.
Prahlada Smarane Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi Prathu Pujane.
Akrurastvabhivandane kapipatir dasyetha sakhyarjuna.
Akrurastvabhivandane kapipatir dasyetha sakhyarjuna.
Sarvasvatmanivedane balirabhut krishnaptiresham param.
Sarvasvatmanivedane balirabhut krishnaptiresham param.
Shri Vishnu Shravane, in hearing about Shri Vishnu, one devotee, in hearing about Shri Krishna, one devotee attained perfection. What is the name of that devotee, dear? Parikshita Bhavan. He did not need to perform kirtan in order to attain perfection. He attained perfection simply by Shravanam. There are devotees who ask, can I simply hear talks by others because I don't feel inspired enough to speak? Come on the platform and speak. Of course you can attain perfection, but since this is Kali Yuga, please try to do a little kirtan, because please fulfill some Yuga Dharma. Alright? So from time to time, do something to help Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but otherwise you can also attain perfection through Shravanam. Alright? Then, Vaiyasaki Kirtane. The son of Vyas attained perfection through Kirtan. Who is the son of Vyas? Vaiyasaki. Sukadeva Goswami is Vaiyasaki. He attained perfection through Kirtan. Prahlad Smarane. And who attained perfection through Smaran, dear devotees? Prahlad. Prahlad Smaran is so of such high caliber that when weapons were brought in front of him by Hiranyakashipu and he was given a choice, either you accept me as the Supreme Lord, Hiranyakashipu said, or I'll slaughter you using these weapons. In the Vishnu Puran, Prahlad said, Vishnu Shastreshu Yushmasu Mai Chasav Vyavastita. Vishnu is present in the weapons, I can see him. He is present in you and he is present in me. Therefore, by the strength of my word, nothing will happen to me. Prahlad said this and nothing happened to him. So he could see Vishnu even within the weapons that were presented to slaughter him. And dear devotees, it's an established fact that Bhagwan Narasimhadev did not appear for convincing Prahlad. Bhagwan Narasimhadev appeared for whose conviction? Hiranyakashipu. Because who was not convinced that Bhagwan is in the pillar? So the main reason for the appearance of Bhagwan Narasimhadev is not Prahlad Maharaj. The main reason for his appearance is Hiranyakashipu. Because if Hiranyakashipu would have agreed, yeah, he is in the pillar, that's it, he wouldn't have appeared there. The main difficulty was Hiranyakashipu did not agree. He wanted Pratyaksh Praman, live proof, and Bhagwan gave him a live proof on the spot. Therefore, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in some places where Hiranyakashipu gives statements, you will find Shri Hiranyakashipu Rovacha. So why should Shri be added before the name of Hiranyakashipu? Because actually he is the main person responsible for the appearance of whom? And he sacrificed himself in that process. You can't imagine the greatest sacrifice ever made for making Bhagwan appear. So we have immense respect for Hiranyakashipu. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said, therefore it is written Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha in many places in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the secret behind Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha. So, the devotees, Prahlad Smarane. It is Prahlad who is the Acharya of Smaran. Tadangri Bhajane. And Angri means feet, Bhajane means service of his lotus feet. Lakshmi. So, one devotee attained perfection in serving his lotus feet. And who is that? Srimati Lakshmi. Prithu Pujane. And in Archanam, one particular individual attained perfection. On who is that? Maharaj Prithu. He offered the entire earth to Bhagwan Vishnu as a sacrifice. Then comes Vandanam, Akruras to Abhivandane. And the best Vandanam was done by whom, dear devotees? Akrura. Do you want to, dear devotees, Maharaj was speaking when Akrura came to Sri Vrindavan. The first thing he did is he rolled around in the dust of Vrindavan. And then Akrura got up and said, and you have to repeat after me, alright? I am the most fortunate.
I am the most fortunate.
No, you are the most fortunate. Not I am fortunate. Not I am more fortunate. I am the most fortunate. The devotees, there is a very big reason behind why Akrura said I am most fortunate. And the devotee commentator Sri Harisuri explains the reason why Akrura said I am most fortunate, dear devotees. And please hear the wonderful reason why he said that Akrura is most fortunate. When Akrura came to Vrindavan, he saw the dust of Vrindavan. He saw the footprints of Bhagwan. So dear devotees, and he saw the trees which are growing in the soil of Vrindavan. So Akrura had this in his mind, that the dust of Vrindavan has received the footprints of Bhagwan, and the trees have gotten their nourishment from the soil of Vrindavan. So the trees received the remnants of Bhagwan. Do all of you agree, dear devotees?
Yes.
So the trees received the remnants of Bhagwan, And the trees also received the touch of Bhagwan, and Bhagwan would casually walk through, just touch like this. So the trees received the casual touch of Bhagwan. So the trees are fortunate. I hope all of you agree. What are the trees? Fortunate. Now, dear devotees, when the trees became overjoyed, they gave out their joy in the form of fruits, and those fruits were eaten by birds and the animals. So the birds and animals received the remnants of Sri Krishna. I hope you are able to understand. So they ate the remnants of Krishna, and dear devotees, Bhagavan would also look at the birds and the animals with his sidelong glance. So Bhagavan would not only touch the birds and animals, he would also give them his sidelong glance. So the birds became more fortunate. What did the birds become? More fortunate. And when the birds became more fortunate, the birds started singing loudly, and this singing entered into the ears of Akrura. When it entered into the ears of Akrura, dear devotees, Akrura received the remnants of Bhagavan. And not only is he going to receive the remnants of Bhagavan, but Bhagavan will also give him that good fortune of touching which he gave to the trees, and the sidelong glance which he gave to the birds and the deer. So Akrura is not fortunate, he is not more fortunate, dear devotees. Akrura is more fortunate. This, dear devotees, is the secret behind Akrura saying that I am the most fortunate person in the entire universe. So this is Akrura's Tvabhivandane. Akrura is perfected in glorifying Bhagavan. And now we have to change our Leela to Kapipatir Dasya. In Dasya, you cannot find an example better than one personality. Which personality, dear devotees? Kapipatir. Can you imagine Sri Rupa Goswami must have tried his best to find an example within Sri Krishna Leela? Krishna is Sevya Bhagavan. He is the Lord amongst those who enjoy. And Hanuman is the Lord amongst those who serve. He is the Sevak Bhagavan, dear devotees. There is nobody who can beat his service to Bhagavan. Kapipatir Dasya. And Sri Rupa Goswami is so honest about it. Yeah, he could have written Uddhav or somebody, and we would have accepted it as it is. But no, we have to be thoroughly honest, because the Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for individuals who are thoroughly honest. So if we are thoroughly honest, we will agree that the greatest amount of seva in Dasya Ras was done by Sri Hanuman. And Sakhya Arjuna, and in Sakhya Ras, the highest was Arjuna. And Sarva Svatma Nivedane, and in offering everything to Bhagavan, even at the expense of his own prestige, even at the expense of his own guru's, or of betraying his own guru's order. If there is somebody who gave everything to Bhagavan, there was only one personality, Balir Abhut. Who was that? Krishnaptir Esham Para. The attainment of Krishna for all of these is the highest, because they perfected each process respectively, dear devotees. This is the translation. Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
In Shravana, Parikshit Maharaj, in Kirtana, the son of Sri Vyasadeva, in Smarana, Prahlad Maharaj, in Pada Sevanam, Lakshmi Devi, in Archana, Prithu Maharaj, in Vandana, Akrura, in Dasya, Hanuman, in Sakhya, Arjuna, in Atma Nivedana, Bali Maharaj. All these devotees attain Krishna in the most excellent manner through these respective processes.
So this, dear devotees, is how each and every devotee selected a process according to what?
Their vasana.
Please tell me.
Vasana.
According to their own innate desires. Right? Swavasana anusarena. So this, dear devotees, is what Sri Rupa Goswami wishes to imprint upon us. Now, dear devotees, please try to understand. Yesterday we discussed about Smaranam, and Smaranam also has many distinctions within it. Dear devotees, we might be knowing that in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, in the 64 limbs of Bhakti, Sri Rupa Goswami has kept Sankirtanam separate and Japa separate. Sankirtanam is limb number 33, Japa is limb number 34. Although both in the English language get translated as chanting. But Sankirtanam is chanting audibly so that others can hear. Japa is chanting softly so that only one's own self can hear. This distinction is maintained in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Sri Rupa Goswami also gives this wonderful treatment to Smaranam. Limb number 45 is Smriti. Please repeat after me. Smriti.
Smriti.
And limb 46 is Dhyanam.
Dhyana.
So you can see how nuanced the understanding of Sri Rupa Goswami is in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. He has separated Smriti, general Smaranam, from Dhyanam, which is intense Smaranam. This is the distinction between Smaranam and Dhyanam. And yesterday we saw level 1 Smaranam. What is level 1 Smaranam? Does anybody remember?
Smaran.
Yeah, and how do you do that? Just yatha kathanchit, somehow or other, whatever you are easily able to remember, you call it Smaranam. Just see how Sri Rupa Goswami defines Smaranam. This is exactly how Sri Rupa Goswami defines Smaranam. Please repeat after me. Yatha kathanchin manasa sambandha smritiruchyate. Yatha kathanchin. In the Hindi language we say jaise kaise bhi. Somehow or other, in English we say somehow or other. Manasa sambandha. Any contact of Sri Krishna with the mind becomes known as the 45th limb. And what is the 45th limb, dear devotees? Smriti. Also known as Smaranam. Right? So this is the translation. Prabhu, kindly read what Sri Rupa Goswami says about Smriti.
Somehow or other, connecting to Krishna through the mind is known as Smriti, Smarana.
But Prabhu, if this Smriti breaks while remembering Krishna, is that okay? Please, dear devotee, is it okay if it breaks in between? Yes, obviously it is okay, no problem. There is a statement in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Yena Kena Prakarena Manaha Krishna Niveshe. What is the meaning of Yena Kena Prakarena? Again, somehow or other, even if you get a fraction of a second, try to invest your mind in Sri Krishna. And the moment you are able to invest your mind in Sri Krishna, you are fulfilling the purpose of being a member of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The more we are able to do that, the more we are able to fulfill the purpose of being a member of this society. Because a society is not just four walls, a society is also a concept. And that concept is based on the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami. And we might say that we are within the four walls of a particular temple which we call the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But is that the only restriction of this, or does the society end there, or should the society also extend outside? Please tell me. It extends outside in our day-to-day life. Because Krishna consciousness is, it is supposed to be practiced also within our daily personal lives. And therefore, Smriti, limb number 45 is very important. Dear devotees, therefore Sri Rupa Goswami also defines limb number 46. What was the 46th limb? Dhyana. What is dhyan? Please repeat after me. Dhyanam Rupa Guna Krida. Dhyanam Rupa Guna Krida. Seva Dehe Sushtu Chintanam. Seva Dehe Sushtu Chintanam. Sushtu Chintanam, thorough contemplation. And here he doesn't follow the sequence, Nam, Rupa, Guna, Leela. He could have done that. But Sri Rupa Goswami breaks the sequence here and he says Rupa, Guna, Krida, Seva, Adi. Adi means etc. Etc. includes associates, abode, so many things. Sushtu Chintanam, when you have natural inclination to meditate deeply on these, then you are performing the 45th limb of Bhakti. And what is that, dear devotees? Dhyan. Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
Thorough contemplation upon the form, qualities, pastimes, service, etc. of Krishna is known as dhyana, meditation.
Alright. So, Rupa Dhyanam, Guna Dhyanam, Krida Dhyanam, Seva Dhyanam. You also meditate on a particular seva that you are performing for Sri Krishna. Haven't we heard examples in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of devotees who were performing seva mentally? Can we give some examples from the Chaitanya Charitamrita of devotees who were performing Manasi seva? Yeah, Sri Narasimha Brahmachari and Sri Madhavendra Puri, yes. He was performing so much Manasik seva. So, especially after initiation, when the Guru has initiated us, then we should inquire from the Guru that, dear Guru Maharaj, is it possible for me to engage in this limb of bhakti? Can I engage in Smaranam and Dhyan of Bhagwan's form, qualities, pastimes, etc.? So according to our adhikar, our Gurujanas will tell us, yes, you are eligible to do this, or no, wait for some time. And when the Guru says wait for some time, the disciple should go back exactly in that time and ask again. Alright? You have to ask again and again. You can't say that, oh, Maharaj said, wait, and I'll wait till the end of my life. No. You have to ask again and again. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada went to him, can I become your disciple? Oh, Panditji, no. Siddhanta Saraswati, oh, no. I am Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. How can I accept you as my disciple? No, you are very learned Vidwan. You go to some Jyotish Shastri or some big learned person. There are so many in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. You go to them. Why have you come to this, ragged Babaji? Then he came second time. But I don't know so much Shastra. You are Siddhanta Saraswati. Actually, you teach me something from. Why are you? Then he came third time, and this time with a threat. If you don't initiate me, then I will give up my life. My father, Srila Bhakti Thakur Mahasaya, has told me that this personality is the one whom you should take Diksha from, because his character is pure and he knows the conclusions of all Vaishnava Shastras and he lives up to it. So if you don't initiate me, I will give up my life today. Acha, okay. Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das, the big name was given. So, dear devotees, it's very important to continue to ask the Guru. Alright, I am telling all of you because sometimes we forget to ask the Guru. So, it's very important to continue to ask the Guru. You may call it pestering, transcendental pestering. Alright, but it is very important to get those permissions from the Guru. But we should also understand, if the Guru is asking us to wait, why is the Guru asking us? Are they asking us because there is something lacking in us? And if there is something lacking in us, we should first make up to that, and then we should again ask Shri Guru, please kindly can you give me permission that I can engage in these limbs of bhakti. Alright, dear devotees? Now, but there is a big question. How do we know if what we are remembering is imagination? Please raise your hands. How many of us have this doubt in our mind? Smaranam is just imagination of the mind. There is nothing divine about it because it's just a figment of your imagination. And you may ascribe some divinity to it, but actually many times the mind says it is just a figment of imagination, isn't it, dear devotees? So, the doubt is, what is the difference between genuine Smaran and imagination? And I will answer with another question. Usually I don't like to answer a question with a question, but this time I am going to ask a question in reply to a question. And what is the difference between uttering genuine Naam and uttering empty syllables? Please tell me. There are 3 candidates in front of you chanting Hari Naam. Please tell me how many of them are chanting genuine Naam and how many of them are uttering empty syllables. Bolo. difficult to say, my goodness. It's very difficult. So, dear devotees, such questions are, you cannot ask these questions to others and you can't give a certificate to others whether the Smaranam you are doing is imagination or not. Just as you cannot give a certificate to others that the Naam you are chanting is just empty syllables or genuine Naam. Please tell me, is Krishna Naam a spiritual entity or a material entity?
Spiritual.
Similarly, is Krishna-smarana a spiritual entity or a material entity? Spiritual entity. And how can we measure a spiritual entity by our external senses, whether it is genuine or not? You can only measure someone's Smaran when you actually enter into their Smaran and try to see what they are seeing. Otherwise, you cannot actually measure anyone's Smaran. Just as you cannot measure anyone's quality of Naam. Dear devotees, therefore, please tell me, this is a wonderful painting of a very beautiful deity. Who recognizes the deity? Sri Radha Govindji. Dear devotees, is this, does this painting represent Sri Krishna?
Yes.
Does this painting represent Sri Krishna?
Yes.
And now we have ISKCON Mayapur. Does this painting represent Krishna?
Yes.
Which one of this is a painting and which is imagination? Tell me. Do all of them look the same or look different? And which one of them is real and which one of them is an imagination?
All three are real. All the three are real.
They're all real.
The artist must have created by putting something from his mind into reality. That's how paintings and deities are made, isn't it?
Yeah.
So please tell me, dear devotees, amongst these three, which one is imagination and which one really represents Krishna?
They all represent. They all represent.
Oh wow, it seems that the audience is answering itself. And actually these are photographs, these are not paintings.
Yeah.
So please tell me, does this photograph represent Krishna?
Yes.
The middle one?
Yes.
And the right side one?
Yes.
Does this painting represent Sri Krishna?
Yes.
If I take a photograph of this painting, will it represent Krishna?
Yes.
If I take a photograph of that photograph, will it represent Krishna?
Yes.
And so what is the problem, dear devotees? Why don't we let each other live in peace? Huh? So, dear devotees, therefore, just as we cannot distinguish between genuine Naam and Namakshar, it is up to Bhagavan to distinguish that. Similarly, we cannot distinguish if somebody's Smaran is genuine or not. It is up to Bhagavan to make that distinction and Bhagavan to make any corrections. Therefore, the deciding factor is given by Sri Rupa Goswami. Please repeat after me. अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादि न भवेद् ग्राह्यमिन्द्रियैः सेवोन्मुखे जिह्वादौ स्वयं एव स्फुरत्यदः. Actually speaking, dear devotees, we cannot utter Sri Krishna's name with our tongue. It's a fact. We cannot utter Sri Krishna's name with our tongue. Because Bhagavan's Naam is a spiritual entity and the tongue is a which entity? How can you grasp a spiritual entity with a material sense organ such as the tongue? It is impossible. Na bhaved grahyam indriyai. So actually speaking, the answer is that nobody is chanting Krishna Naam, they are only uttering the syllables. But Sri Rupa Goswami says no. Seva unmukhe hi jihvadau. But if somebody is inclined to genuine seva, if the inclination is what, dear devotees? Genuine seva. then Naam voluntarily descends on the tongue, etc. We cannot grasp Naam with our tongue. Naam descends voluntarily on our tongue. I hope you are able to understand. Similarly, we cannot grasp Krishna by our mind. Is it possible to grasp Sri Krishna by our mind? No. Sri Rupa Goswami has said Indriyai, not one sense organ, he has included all the sense organs. So, just as Sri Krishna's name cannot be grasped by the tongue, Sri Krishna's image cannot be grasped by the mind. Because the image of Sri Krishna, actual image of Sri Krishna is spiritual in nature, but the mind is what in nature, dear devotees? Material. Since the mind is material in nature, therefore it is impossible for the mind to have an exact image of Sri Krishna. But seva unmukhe, if the intention is genuine seva, then Bhagavan descends on the image that you have framed in your mind. I hope you are able to understand. Bhagavan descends on the image that you have framed in your mind. Bhagavan descends on the naam that you are uttering, syllables that you are uttering through your mouth. This is the most important siddhanta in Gaudiya Vaishnavism related to utterance of genuine naam and genuine Smaran. This is the translation of it. Kindly read, Prabhu.
The names, forms, etc. of Sri Krishna cannot be grasped by the ordinary senses. It is only when these senses, his tongue, etc., become inclined to genuine service that these names, form, etc. of Sri Krishna manifest spontaneously on the ordinary senses.
Dear devotees, I am going to speak of a concept today, and please hear this concept very carefully. This is perhaps a slightly technical part of the talk, but once understood, then it will give us immense confidence in our Smaranam. Dear devotees, there is a term which Sri Jiva Goswami uses in the 6 Sandarbhas, and this term I am going to speak, please repeat after me, adidesh. Adidesh. What is adidesh? Adidesh is when the qualities of a particular entity are completely transferred to another entity. In grammar, in Sanskrit grammar, this principle is called adidesh. For example, if somebody asks me, if somebody asks me what prasadam should I give to our Guru Hari Prabhu, then somebody may tell me, well, give him 2 slices of pizza and 1 lasagna and 1 cup of juice. Alright, and what should I give Brajnath Prabhu? The same that you give to Guru Hari Prabhu. I hope you are able to understand. So whatever he has, that the adidesh of that has been given to Brajnath Prabhu. I hope you are able to understand. This principle in Sanskrit is called as what? Adidesh. This is adidesh. So all the qualities of one entity are transferred completely to another entity. So the deity in the temple, if you look from a purely atheistic, rational point of view, the deity in the temple is made out of what? Stone, metal, wood. But when the installation ceremony, Pran Pratishtha, is performed, at that point of time, the pujari utters mantras and a pure devotee of Bhagavan is invited, so that when they say that, when their bhavana, when their feelings are invested in the murti, so dear devotees, and not only in the murti, the entire temple becomes an adidesh of the spiritual world. I hope you are able to understand. So all qualities of the spiritual abode are transferred to the material abode, which is known as the temple. So we treat this temple as non-different from Goloka or Vaikuntha. So dear devotees, if the entire spiritual world has been transferred by principle, which principle, dear devotees? Adidesh. Very good. Please never forget this term. By the principle of adidesh, if the entire spiritual world has been transferred into the temple, then who is the center of the spiritual world there, dear devotees, in Goloka? And that Krishna's adidesh here is in which entity? Bhagwan Sri Radha Madan Mohan. Therefore, when we look at Sri Krishna, we consider this Sri Krishna to be non-different from that Sri Krishna in the spiritual world. By which principle, dear devotees? Yes. Acha. I hope everybody understood. Now deities are of 8 types. Who remembers what are the 8 types of deities? Shaili, Darumai, Lauhi. One is made out of stone, one is made out of wood, one is made out of metal, one is made out of sand, and one is made out of the
Mind.
Arey, my goodness, one of the deities is made out of the mind. I hope you are able to understand. I hope you can see where I am getting with this. Alright?
Yes.
So if one of the 8 types of deities is framed in the mind, but do you need to perform pran pratishtha of the deity which is there in the mind? Not always, dear devotees, but once you select a particular form of Bhagwan as your Ishta Devata, you invite them within your heart to stay there forever. And you sing for that purpose. Mama mana mandire rahanishi dine Krishna Murari Sri Krishna Murari Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. The saintly souls always see Bhagwan within the heart. So an adidesh of Bhagwan enters within the image that you have created within the heart. Does the deity in the temple need to be an exact replica of Sri Krishna in the spiritual world? Is Sri Krishna in the spiritual world of the same height that Sri Radha Madan Mohan here is? So if you can perform adidesh of Sri Krishna in Sri Radha Madan Mohan, why can't you perform adidesh of Sri Krishna in the deity within your mind? I hope you are able to understand. It's such a simple principle. It's such a simple principle. And people perform this even in material life, dear devotees. I'll tell you, people perform this even in material life. In the world outside, there may be a person who may be very attached to his cat, a pet. And then the cat dies and then they have a picture of that cat and they treat that picture exactly as if they would be, treating their cat. Which principle is being applicable here, dear devotees? What is the Sanskrit name? Adidesh. If people can do it in the material world, what is stopping all of you devotees? Isn't it so obvious? People in the material world are better deity worshippers than some of us, isn't it? So please never forget this principle of adidesh. And this principle will help clear all the doubts that we have regarding deity worship and how to look at the deity. If you have to summarize in one sentence, how do we look at the deity? And why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that the deity is not different from Sri Shyam Sundar? Because in the background we are not just emotional, we also have philosophy behind it, and it can be summarized in one term which we should never forget. And what is that term, dear devotees? Adidesh. And the meaning of adidesh is complete transfer of all characteristics from one entity to another. And the original entity doesn't lose those characteristics, alright? Because in the Ishopanishad it is said that Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate. That even if you perform adidesh from Goloka Vrindavan to Goloka Dham, here in Germany, Goloka Vrindavan remains Goloka Vrindavan. Alright, so this, dear devotees, is the wonderful principle which we need to understand. Therefore, in the commentary, Sri Jiva Goswami on this commentary explains. Please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavataha Swarupa Shakti Vritti Rupam Ato Aprakritam. Actually, Bhakti is a vritti. It is a function of the Swarup Shakti of Bhagwan. Dear devotees, Bhakti is not a noun. Bhakti is a function. Bhakti is an activity. It is a function of which Shakti? Material energy or spiritual energy? It is a function of the spiritual energy. He says, therefore, Ato Aprakritam. She is completely non-material. Bhakti has nothing to do with the material world. But Kayadi vritti tadatmenaiva tatra tatra avirbhutam. She becomes one with the material senses of the sadhaka when she sees that there is genuineness in the sadhaka. I hope you are able to understand. She becomes one with the senses of the sadhaka when she sees that there is genuineness in the sadhaka. So when we are uttering Krishna Nam, if we are genuine, Bhakti Devi is a function, she will become one with the function of uttering Krishna Nam. And because she becomes one with the function of uttering Krishna Nam, therefore our utterance becomes genuine. Not otherwise. It is not by our effort that we can make it genuine. Yesterday, I was showing that answer to the question where Jai Jagannath Prabhu was asking, and I showed the commentary of Sri Mukunda Goswami. It is not by one's own effort that this happens. It happens only when Bhakti Devi decides, I will descend on the senses of this particular person. And when she descends, it is genuine. And when she doesn't descend, still we should continue to practice so that someday she will descend on our senses. I hope it is clear to all of you. This is a very important part. Kindly read, Prabhu, the commentary of Sri Jiva Goswami on Anyavilashita Shunyam.
Bhakti is a function of the Swarupa Shakti, internal potency of the Lord. Thus she is completely non-material. Yet, one should know that she becomes non-different from the functions of the body, mind, etc. In this way, transcendental bhakti descends on those respective mundane senses.
So this is how the mundane senses are able to capture Sri Krishna. This is the only way in which the mundane senses will be able to capture Sri Krishna. This is from the Siddhantic point of view. Let me also tell you one thing. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said in this commentary to Brahma Samhita that the color blue of the material world is not the color of Sri Krishna. You can see this in the Brahma Samhita commentary of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The color of Sri Krishna cannot be put on a red, green, blue RGB palette in the material world, and you cannot, have that exact color on the palette of the material world. So, dear devotees, is it possible to perceive Sri Krishna through the material senses? No, because his color is not on the material color palette. But it is possible that Bhagavan may decide to become one with the image you have created using a material color palette of the material world. Through which principle? Adidesh. Alright? So this is very important to understand. Deities made in the material world have immense importance because of the principle of adidesh. Smaran performed in the mind has immense importance because of the principle of adidesh. And don't get confused when some acharyas say he is of the color of a blue sapphire, and somebody else says he's of the color of a dark rain cloud, and somebody else says he's of the color of a dark stone which tests gold testing stone. Different acharyas will give you different smaranam. Now you have to ask them which one is real and which is imagination.
So these are alankar.
Yeah, alankars, but
ornamental. What we can express through our language, we can only do that.
So Prabhu is saying our language, our words is only able to express him in approximate terms because we can't give at that exact color of Sri Krishna. I mean, sometimes I used to think a dark rain cloud I have seen, and I have seen a blue sapphire, and those two don't look exactly. There's a big difference between a dark rain cloud and a blue sapphire. When I read the term Ujjwal Nilmani, it's like Ujjwal Nilmani. So I asked a devotee friend, what is the color of Krishna? So my devotee friend told me, because he was from Europe, he told me, in Europe there is a color, the blue color of electric trance. I said, I have never seen that. So he on the computer he showed me, this is the blue color of electric trance. I said, I'm 100% sure this is not the color of Krishna. Because he felt it was the most attractive blue color, so he might be thinking that the blue color of electric trance is the color of Krishna. That I can accept. But some places like Kadamba, is like he has the tamal tree. Some places like a dark rain cloud. Some places like Ujjwal Nilmani. I mean, what is going on? So, please repeat after me. Yadrishi bhavana yasya siddhir bhavati tadrishi. So, according to the bhavana, according to the smaran that a devotee has, Bhagwan becomes adidesh. Bhagwan agrees to descend on that particular image within their mind. Although after liberation, after they have become free from the material world, Krishna shows them their actual form, which can only be perceived with the spiritual eye. It cannot be perceived with the material eye. But for the time being, adidesh works. So I hope all of you are happy that adidesh works for the time being and Krishna can descend within the heart. Dear devotees, therefore the answer is genuine Smaran is achieved by having a genuine attitude to render seva to Bhagwan and his associates through the via medium of the mind. That is, it is one's personal attitude which decides it, and you cannot give a certificate of genuine Smaran to anybody, just as you cannot give a certificate of genuine Harinam to anyone. Has anyone heard of a certificate? This person is chanting genuine Harinam. Can we give any such certificate in the institution?
We can,
But the certificate has no value.
how much you have to pay for that?
Yeah.
1 crore rupees.
Give me $1 million, I'll give you a certificate. Meet me after the lectures.
It's official.
Yeah.
Stamp is there.
So dear devotees, therefore, our acharyas have encouraged Smaran, whether we are on the path of Vaidhi Bhakti or we are on the path of Raganuga Bhakti. I told you, I will not speak without support from Srila Prabhupada. So here comes support from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says something. Prabhu, please read what Srila Prabhupada has to say.
According to different relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are varieties of Namanukirtanam, chanting of the holy name. And thus, according to different relationships and mellows, there are 5 kinds of remembering. These are as follows.
Hey, where did we hear about the 5 levels of remembrance?
Shiva Goswami.
Yesterday. And who was giving those 5 levels?
Shiva Goswami.
Shiva Goswami. And who is speaking again about 5 levels, dear devotees? Oh my goodness. Level 1, please read, Prabhu.
A. Conducting research into the worship of a particular form of the Lord.
So in level 1, you're just researching which are the various forms. You are casually remembering all of them. You are gathering information. You are on level 1, dear devotees. What is the name of level 1? Smaran. Now comes level 2.
Concentrating the mind on the subject and withdrawing the mind's activities of thinking, feeling and willing from all other subjects.
This, dear devotees, is level 2. Anybody remembers what is the name of level 2?
Dharana.
Dharana. Dear devotees, please repeat. Dharana. Dharana. Level 3, dear devotees, will be Dhyan. Please see what Srila Prabhupada says about it.
Concentrating upon a particular form of the Lord. This is called meditation.
Now you become very specific. This is concentrating on a specific form of the Lord. This is, what is the technical name, dear devotees?
Yeah.
Always remember the technical names. First is Smaran, second is Dharana, third is Dhyana. Okay, level 4, please.
Concentrating one's mind continuously on the form of the Lord. This is called Dhruvano Smriti, or perfect meditation.
So it starts coming back to you and you call it Dhruvano Smriti. And who remembers what was level 5, dear devotees? Samadhi. Srila Prabhupada says,
Awakening a liking for concentration upon a particular form. This is called Samadhi or trance.
and I have not picked this selectively, I have not cherry picked this. This is from one single purport. Please read the purport. This is from 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Please read.
Mental concentration upon particular pastimes of the Lord in particular circumstances is also called remembrance. Therefore, samadhi, trance, can be possible in 5 different ways in terms of one's relationship.
This is given directly by Srila Prabhupada in the purport to the 7th canto, chapter 5, verse number 23 of Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the same sequence that Sri Jiva Goswami gave in the Bhakti Sandarbha, given by Srila Prabhupada. The reason why I had put this slide on the first day, I said I had faced some challenges when I presented this originally, and one of the challenge was, where did Srila Prabhupada give such a methodology? Here is where he has given it, and nobody can deny it. And as Maharaj said in the morning, sometimes we selectively read Prabhupada's books and forget some portions of Srila Prabhupada's book. So here is that portion which some of us might have forgotten. Here are the 5 levels from Sri Jiva Goswami that are coming directly from Srila Prabhupada. Also in Upadeshamritam. Yeah, but in Upadeshamritam it is on Dasha, Smaran Dasha, Varan Dasha. But in that Smaran Dasha he describes all these 5. Yeah? But also in another place, because in this place he is giving it as a recommend. The devotee must do like this. So here is where Srila Prabhupada gives it as a recommendation, and this may Srila Prabhupada also gives another recommendation. Prabhu, please read.
Concentrating pratasmriti, pratasmriti, remembrance of the Lord in the morning, in the early morning hours known as Brahma Muhurta, one should get up and immediately chant the Hare Krishna mantra, or at least
Krishna, 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 Hare.
Krishna, Krishna.
In this way, one should remember Krishna. Some shlokas or prayers should also be chanted. By chanting, one immediately becomes auspicious and transcendental to the infection of material qualities. Actually, one has to chant and remember Lord Krishna 24 hours daily, or as much as possible.
24 hours daily or as much, because he has read Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because 24 hours means as much as possible every day. Even half a syllable in the purports is not meaningless. I am telling you one thing, even half a syllable in the purports is not meaningless. But it requires you to have that perfect application at that perfect place. There is a Sanskrit verse, Amantram aksharam nasti, nasti aushadam amulakam, ayogyaha purusha nasti, yojakas tatra durlabha. There is no syllable which cannot become a mantra. There is no plant which cannot become an Ayurvedic medicine. And there is nothing which remains useless if the proper person finds the proper application. So it's very important to understand that not even half a syllable is meaningless in the purports. I will pick out sometimes something which will, 24 hours a day, he could have finished there, but he doesn't finish there. What does he say after that? Or as much as possible. It's very important because here he follows exactly in the line with which Acharya devotee Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And thus we have everything given by Srila Prabhupada. Why have any doubts in your mind? You have the full force of the Guru Parampara coming to you through the via medium, but we only appreciate the message when we also look at the original, dear devotees. Then we come to know what is the importance of the message that Srila Prabhupada has given to us. Therefore, dear devotees, Smaranam is for all stages of life. Srila Jiva Goswami says Smaranam works where other processes may not work. I told you I am a supporter of Vishlimba Bhakti. How many are with me? Please raise your hands. I am converting people to my Smaranam in all stages of life. Sri Jiva Goswami says, please repeat after me. Garbhe. In the womb, dear devotees, when you are upside down, the Srimad Bhagavatam describes in the 3rd canto that the living entity, when unable to perform Karma Yoga, when unable to perform Jnana Yoga, and unable to perform Ashtanga Yoga, dear devotees, is able to perform one limb of Bhakti, Smaranam. And the living entity in the womb remembers, oh my dear Bhagavan, again I am recycled in the material world. Last time I swear I had promised, I'll perfect it last time. But the circumstances last time were so bad. I can, Bhagavan. My marriage, really, I suffered in my marriage last time, Bhagavan. So last time I couldn't make it to Krishna Prem. Bhagavan, this time please promise me you will give me a good spouse. Please, Bhagavan. No. Bhagavan, this time don't give me any spouse. But you never know, after coming out, oh my goodness, living your entire life in loneliness, if only I could have a spouse.
Give me some.
So, Garbha in the womb. In the womb, dear devotees, one limb of bhakti is easily possible. Which limb, dear devotees? Smaran. Example of this, dear devotees, he says, Sri Narada Karita, Sri Prahladasya. Sri Narad Muni gave Smaranam to whom in the womb? Sri Prahlad. Next, please repeat after me. Balye. In childhood, it is very easily possible to remember Bhagavan. And this is possible in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, who in his childhood performed intense meditation upon Bhagavan and attained Bhagavan in a matter of a few months. So even in childhood it is possible to remember Bhagavan, dear devotees. Next stage, please repeat. Yauvane. In youth it is possible to remember Bhagavan. Example of this is given as Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj, although in his full youth he was still remembering Bhagavan, it is very difficult to remember Bhagavan in the youth. It may be easier in childhood, but very difficult in youth, because youth means you are attracted to the opposite gender and your heart is always filled with those thoughts, dear devotees. When will she become mine? When will she look at me? And all those things. It is good. It is part of growing up. Dear devotees, it is part of growing up to experience that first attraction, but it is possible also to remember Bhagavan in that same youth, Yauvane. Please repeat after me. Vardhakye. In old age it is possible to remember Bhagavan. Example of that is Dhritarashtra. After his 100 sons were killed, he was still staying within the palace of Yudhishthir and Bhim. And Vidur was annoyed at him, and he came to Dhritarashtra and said, you are living like a dog on the bread thrown by Bhim, the killer of your 100 sons. If you have any amount of self-respect remaining, get out of here and go to the forest and perfect your life. So he went along with Gandhari and they perfected their life by remembrance of Bhagavan. In which age, dear devotees? Old age. Vardhakya. Next, dear devotees, please repeat. Marane. In the moment of death, we have Ajamil, etc. Remembrance of Bhagavan at the moment of death in the case of Ajamil. Dear devotees, it should end here, but it doesn't end here. Please repeat after me. Maranantare. It is also possible to remember Bhagavan after death. Alright? So everything doesn't end at death. It is also possible to remember. Sri Jiva Goswami gives the example of Maharaj Chitraketu. Maharaj Chitraketu, who had remembered Bhagavan in his lifetime, but somehow because of his material desires, his life couldn't be perfected. He went to the heavenly planets, and he, with the Gandharva ladies, with his two arms around two Gandharva ladies, he was singing. Krishna, 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 Hare. And so you may say, oh, this is a sahajiya, Are Baba, the rules of earthly planets are not applicable to the heavenly planetary system, alright? So don't become attracted to it. Yeah? Some of you may know. Earth is not a good place to perform kirtan. The best kirtan is Krishna, Krishna,
What about between youth and old age?
Between youth and old age is included in the extremes are there. So,
No remembrance.
you want to separate, say, for midlife crisis? Midlife crisis didn't exist during Sri Jiva Goswami's time. His categorization was simple. So Maranantare example is given of Maharaj Chitraketu. In the heavenly planets, where there are 4 regulative principles are not so strict, dear devotees, still he was chanting Bhagavan's name and remembering Bhagavan. He could have continued to do that for thousands of years, but Bhagavan wanted to speed up the process, so he accidentally ended up cracking jokes with Bhagavan Shiva, and that speeded up his process of returning back home, back to Godhead, dear devotees. So the rest is history. We know what happened after that, alright? And then, dear devotees, please repeat, Yonyantare. Any other species of life, it is possible, because you might see sometimes some animals come in front of the temple, sometimes some, birds, animals. Sometimes you see stories in India, there is a cow who is visiting a temple every day, there is, some animal who visits the temple every day. That's because that remembrance from the past life. Gajendra is a classic example of this. He had attained another yoni, another species of life. Remembrance from previous life brought him. Dear devotees, this is the superiority of Smaranam. Please tell me, how many of us are supporters of Smaranam now?
Increasing.
Increasing, yeah, that's the purpose, that's the whole purpose, I mean,
Followers.
can you believe it? The society is named as International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and I have to lobby for Smaranam in it, Ideally, I shouldn't have to lobby for it. People should readily agree that, Smaranam is it. But see, it's a difficult time. Alright, dear devotees, enough speaking about Smaranam. Let us engage directly in some Smaranam. Alright? Are you prepared to engage directly in some Smaranam? Yes. So, thoda little taste, little drinking, dear devotees. So, it's very important. It will give us that intoxication. Smaran of Nam, Roop, Guna and Lila. In a single verse by Sri Rupa Goswami in the Padyavali, in the very beginning, Sri Rupa Goswami gives a wonderful verse of his own composition. Please repeat after me. Namo Nalina Netraya, Namo Nalina Netraya, Venu Vadya Vinodine, Venu Vadya Vinodine, Radha Sudhapana, Radha Sudhapana, Shaline Vanamaline, Shaline Vanamaline. Dear devotees, this verse has so many meditations together. Alright? First, please repeat after me. Namo Nalina Netraya, Namo Nalina Netraya. Close your eyes and please try to remember only the lotus eyes. Namo obeisances to he who has eyes as the full-grown lotus petals. Devotees. In the image within your mind, Bhagavan has already performed adidesh. Although you might be remembering only one characteristic of his face, you are not remembering the entire face. But Bhagavan has already entered within that remembrance. And please repeat after me. Namo Nalina Netraya, Namo Nalina Netraya. Now, as if chewing upon a sugar cane, make each term a sugar cane and chew upon it, and while you are chewing upon it, form that meditation in your mind once again. Namo Nalina Netraya, Namo Nalina Netraya. Could you see the eyes of Krishna? Please raise your hands if you could see the eyes of Krishna. Dear devotees, wonderful. Now, please look at the screen again. This was which Smaran of what, dear devotees? Rupa. This is Smaran of Bhagwan's form. Alright? Now, let's move ahead. Please repeat after me. Venu Vadya Vinodine. Venu Vadya Vinodine. This Vinodi, he takes a lot of delight. Vinodi, he takes a lot of delight in Vadya, in playing the Venu. What is the Venu, dear devotees? So, you just have to draw a little bit under his eyes and you have to draw something else in your mind. Alright? So, please close your eyes and please repeat after me. Venu Vadya Vinodine. Venu Vadya Vinodine. So, dear devotees, this is a remembrance of Bhagwan's guna. Please look at the screen. Obeisances to him who delights in playing the flute. This is a remembrance of his guna. Now, dear devotees, a remembrance of his lila. Alright, please repeat after me. Radha Dhara Sudhapana, Radha Dhara Sudhapana, Shaline. Shaline. The devotees, Shaline, he is habituated, he is expert in drinking the sudhapana, in drinking the nectar which emanates from the lower lip of Sri Radha. Dear devotees, this is our Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Please repeat after me. Radha Dhara Sudhapana, Shaline. This is a remembrance of his Leela, and then remembrance of his Naam, Vanamaline. What is his name, dear devotees? Vanamaline. There is a liberal garland hanging from his neck, dear devotees, and that garland liberally swings around him as he walks around. This is our Bhagavan Sri Krishna's remembrance. Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
Obeisances to the lotus-eyed one, Rupa. Obeisances to him who delights in playing the flute, Guna. Obeisances to him who is an expert in drinking the lower lip nectar of Sri Radha, Lila. Obeisances unto Sri Vanamali, Nam.
You have Naam, Roop, Gun, Lila in a single Anushtup verse, a verse of 32 syllables. Sri Rupa Goswami's expertise is that he was able to give you a complete Smaranam in the very second verse of Sri Padyavali.
How many are with you now? How many are with you now?
Oh, I have a few in my box. Dear devotees, if you want to perform more Smaran, then please say Haribol. So dear devotees, some more Smaran has to come because it's very important that we perform this Smaran. Let's focus more on the roop of Bhagavan, dear devotees. This verse is from the Padyavali. It is originally by a devotee poet named Sri Sharadakar. Sri Rupa Goswami has compiled it in his Padyavali. The meter is Shardula Vikriditam, same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Can we sing together, dear devotees?
Yes.
Let's sing together. Pullendi Varakanti Nindu Vadanam Bharhavatam Sapriyam Shri Vatsankamudara Kaustubhadaram Pitambaram Sundaram Gopinam Nayanotpalachitatanum Gopasanghabritam Govindam Kalavenu Vadanaparam Divyangabhusham Bhaje. Pulla Indivara Kantim. Dear devotees, his effulgence is like the full-blown blue lotus. Induvadanam, his face looks exactly like the full moon. Varhavatam sapriyam, he liberally likes to pick up peacock feathers fallen down and put on his head. Dear devotees, you can easily imagine his libertine personality. Does anybody know what is the meaning of a libertine? There is an English term, libertine. A person who easily, who's easy in talking to ladies. I hope you are able to understand. That is the meaning of a libertine. So that personality you have to have in your mind. So while walking, dear devotee is very confident in his walk. He is very confident in his talk. While walking, he casually picks up Barhavatam, peacock feather, and he ties it around. And that function of tying around is also looked upon by the gopis because everything that he performs is immensely enchanting to their mind. The devotees, Shri Vatsankamudara Kaustubhadaram, and that liberal Kaustuva, it hangs liberally from his neck as he walks, it swings around, and looking at that is like a hypnotic pendulum, the devotees. Pitambaram Sundaram, he wears that beautiful silken cloth. My goodness, from where he got it, we don't know. Gopinam Nayanotpalachita Tanum, this is the most important term. His Tanum, his form is worshipped by the lotuses of the eyes of the gopis. His form is worshipped by the lotuses of the eyes of the gopis. And Gopa Sanghavritam. He hides himself in a group of cows and cowherd boys. Although he's a big libertine. And you can search this term on the dictionary, dear devotees. There is a term in the English language, libertine. So Gopa Sanghavritam. He casually walks amongst the cows and the cowherd boys. Govindam. His name is Govindam. Kalavenu Vadana Param. Confidently plays a soft, sweet tune on the flute, without being bothered about who is attracted to him. He goes about his own task. Devotees. Divyang Bhusham Bhaje, carrying so many ornaments around him, I worship that person in my heart. I told you, dear devotees, there are two types of kavya. Drishya, which you see on a stage, and Shravya, which a speaker has to create in your mind. So I am trying to create some images, dear devotees. I don't know how successful I am.
Very successful.
This is the translation, Prabhu.
I worship Lord Govinda, whose complexion is the color of a blooming blue lotus flower, his face is like the moon, who is fond of wearing a peacock feather crown, who bears the mark of Srivatsa, who wears a grey kastubaja, who is dressed in yellow garments, whose handsome form is worshipped with offerings of the lotus flowers that are the gopis' glances, who is accompanied by a host of Surabhi cows and gopas, who is fond of sweetly playing the flute, and whose transcendental body is decorated with glittering ornaments.
It's a very wonderful meditation, dear devotees. Can you, even in your minds, think about that wonderful full moon night, and if you're walking on the banks of the Yamuna, suddenly this person comes out of the Yamuna fully drenched in water. He comes out on the banks and he puts his hair around, ties his hair around, and then puts a peacock feather around his head, dear devotees. Never look at that person. That is a warning, dear devotees. Never look at that person.
If you want to be happy.
Yeah, if you want to be happy, never look at that person. Never look at that person. So it's very important to fall in love with that person. And don't worry if your Smaran is imagination or not. Have a genuine desire to love him. Have a genuine desire to love him. And by which principle, dear devotees? He will descend within your Smaranam. This was, dear devotees, Rupa Smaranam. I hope you were able to visualize some of this form. Then we will go to Guna Smaranam, Krishna's qualities. Now this form is giving a, Srimati Radharani saw that form. My goodness, this person, he was taking a bath in the Yamuna. When he came out of the Yamuna, the Yamuna is already, dark in color, so dark crystals. And when he came out, it was as if blue crystals are coming out from dark crystals. My goodness, I looked at him and I don't know what is his name. She saw him for the first time, and then she came back home, and then she's asking her Sakhi to draw paintings of him. And Maharaj said, how many paintings did she draw?
Many.
Thousands. No, not this one. Not this one. Not this one. Yeah, this one. This one looks somewhat like him. The devotees, then she ended up saying something which Sri Rupa Goswami describes in Vidagdha Madhavam. Same meter, dear devotees, let's sing together. Ekasya shrutameva lumpati matim Krishneti namasharam Sandronmada paramparam apanaya Pyanyasya vamshikala Esha snigdha ghana jyotirmanasi me Lagna sakrit vikshana Kashtam vik purushatrayera vidabhu Manye vriti shreyasi. She came home and she is telling to her friends, Lalita, Vishaka, I don't know what is happening to me. Ekasya Shrutameva Lumpati Matim. That day you spoke one name. Krishna. Please speak the name. Krishna. Lumpati Matim. I lost my mind after hearing that name. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know. Krishneti Namaksharam. That who, I don't know who Krishna is, because she has not related the name to the person till now. She has seen him for the first time only. So that day you spoke the name Krishna, I don't know, I lost my mind. And another fine day I was walking through the forest and I couldn't see who it was. I didn't see his form, but Vamshikala, I heard soft flute playing. And Sandron Madha Parampara, I started swooning in my heart. I don't know what happened to me. That was person number 2. And Esha Snigdha Ghana Dyuti, that day on the Yamuna, that I saw, my goodness. I cannot forget him coming out of the water, pulling his hair back, and then tying his hair around and putting a peacock feather into my back. I am not able to understand. Kashtam dhik purushatraye ratirabhut. I am, alas, at the same time I am attached to 3 different men. One whose name is another who was playing on the flute, I couldn't see him, and the third one who came out of the waters of the Yamuna, whose painting you have drawn here. Kashtam dhik purushatraye ratirabhut. I am supposed to be a chaste lady who is supposed to get married, but here I am simultaneously attached to how many people? Manyam Ritishre. I think death is better than living in this way. It's better to die than to live in this way. Here is the translation.
Hearing the name Krishna of a particular man causes me to lose my mind. Another man plays his sweet flute and causes me to become maddened. There is also a third man whose dark cloud-like complexion has become fixed in my mind. Alas, fie on me. I am a chaste lady, yet my mind is attracted to 3 different men. I think death is preferable to living this way.
This, dear devotees, is remembrance of Bhagavan's qualities by Sri Radha. Dear devotees, I will not leave you in sadness, alright? Madhuriyana samapayat. So, we should end with something happy. There should be Smaranam of Leela. And last time I had told this Leela and I want to see how many have practiced it. So I am telling it again here this time, dear devotees, alright? One fine day, Sri Radha always wanted that when she is walking on Govardhan, he should come and stop her. And he should come and stop her, and there should be some exchange, a fiery exchange of words. So one fine day he fulfilled her desire while she was walking in Govardhan. Around Dan Ghati, he was hiding behind the bushes, and when she came, dear devotees, suddenly he came out and said, stop. So I will give you the recollection of that pastime again, and then I will see how many of you practiced what I told you last year. Alright? So he said you cannot move ahead here. So Krishna stopped them, and he was with his friend Arjun Sakha. What is the name of his friend? Arjun. Arjun is the name, Sakha means friend. So Arjun said, well, stop here, you can't go ahead, you have to pay tax. But before paying tax, pay pranam to our, tax collector. Chalo, all of you pay pranam. Chalo. Hare, pay pranam quickly. Huh? Why are you not paying pranam? So the gopis also had their ego. There is an ego in the spiritual world. So they had no. Why should we pay pranam? Because he is the appointed tax collector. Yeah, we know how respected he is. Everybody knows how respected he is. Don't tell us how respected he is. We know already. We cannot pay obeisances to him. Why? Because we have taken a vow today. What vow? Paurnamasi Devi has told us that you have to take all of these, in their pots they are carrying all of this milk, ghee, yogurt to the fire sacrifice of Bhaburi Muni. So we are also under a vow and we cannot pay obeisances to anybody else. Acha, Then Arjun Sakha said, but our toll collector has also taken a vow. The Subal Sakha said, pay your respects. She said, we cannot pay because Purnamasi Devi has told us, and we will only pay obeisances to a Dvija, twice born. By that time, Krishna's thread ceremony has not happened. The devotee's thread ceremony happened after he went to Mathura. So his thread ceremony, so he is not a Dvija also. That you are not a Dvija. Why should we pay obeisances to you? That, get out of the way. Alright? So then the devotees, Arjun Sakha said, our toll collector has also taken a vow today, and you have also taken vow. He has also taken, so like-minded, huh? So we will have a deal. What deal? First you pay obeisances, then we will pay obeisances. Latter part is not going to happen. Huh? Dear devotees, you have to be very careful in your dealings with this person. Huh? Because very crooked person. So dear devotees, he will trick you into his words. So then Lalita Devi asked, and you have to speak what Lalita Devi said. Please repeat after me. What vow? What vow? Very thoda loudly. What vow? What vow? Yeah, that was the mood with which she said. It's not like, Gaudiya Vaishnava, what vow? Not like you have to speak with that fervor and emotion. Alright, once again, dear devotees, take the mood of Lalita Devi and say, what vow? Yeah, dear devotees, then Krishna jumps in and says, Nityam Abalar Buddha Dvija Vasanadhanam Namavatam. Hello? Bolo. That. Once again. Nityam Abalar Buddha Dvija Vasanadhanam Namavatam. How will you defeat Krishna if you have to practice every day?
Okay, done.
Okay? So chalo, I will make it easy for you. Okay? Please repeat after me. Nityam, Abala, Arbuda, Dvija, Vasana, Danam, Nama, Vrata. Alright, now I will speak the Sanskrit term and I will show the English terms, and then you speak the English term because I have given numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright? So I will speak the Sanskrit, but you only have to speak the English translation. Alright? Nityam, Abala, Arbuda, Dvija, Vasana, Danam, Namavratam. This is the name of the vow. What is the vow, dear devotees? The vow of donating cloth every day to 100 million helpless brahmanas.
No.
See, what he is trying to say is, you are also going to the fire sacrifice to give this to the brahmanas, and I have also taken a vow to give something to the brahmanas. So you are also under a vow, I am also under a vow. We should respect each other, isn't it? So pay obeisances, chalo.
No. You should pay first.
Actually, this person is a number one ruffian. Try to understand. Once again, let's repeat the scene. What he intended to say. What did Lalita Devi say? Wow. Please, this time, please repeat. Nityam Abalar Buddha Dvija Vasanadhanam Namavatam. This is not how it is going to work. Chalo, this time last time we saw from Sri Radha's mind, this time let's see from Krishna's mind what it means. Alright, dear devotees? Here it is again. I'll speak the Sanskrit, you speak the English. Nityam, Abala, Arbuda, Dvija, because teeth also take birth twice, milk teeth and real teeth. Alright, teeth are also known as Dvija. Alright? Vasanam, Danam, that is the name of the vow. The daily vow of kissing 100 million helpless ladies passing through this world. This is Sri Rupa Goswami's Dan Keli Kaumudi. You can imagine what Sri Raghunath Das Goswami would have gone through when he, read this. I told you Hasya Ras is the immediate accomplice of Madhurya Ras. Yesterday I told you, dear devotees. So that you are experiencing Hasya Ras, which means one Ras is nearby. Which Ras is nearby? Madhurya Ras. What reply do you give to such a person? Only gali, you can give an abusive word, and that will satisfy your heart, and they do that in Sri Vrindavan, dear devotees. So Maharaj said there are 6 things which happen only in Vrindavan. What are the 6 things?
Dan,
Man, Holi, Chori, Ras, and Gali. So we should update the list, Maharaj, because Dan, Man, Holi and Gali. That should come first, dear devotees. Because so that Gali needs to be there. Otherwise, you only verbally abuse a person whom you love very much. I hope you are able to understand. With all others, you are Hare Krishna Prabhu. With all others, you are afraid of making aparats, but a person whom you love, for whom your heart breaks, only to that person you are able to give gali. And that is in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan. The gopis do that with Sri Krishna. And therefore, dear devotees, this is the culture of the spiritual world that was brought to us. I will end with a final prayer of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and this will be the end of the second session of Sri Krishna-smarana. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, please repeat after me. Dehar budani bhagavan yugapat prayacha. Dehar budani bhagavan yugapat prayacha. Vaktar budani cha punah pratidehameva. Vaktar budani cha punah pratidehameva. Jivar budani kripaya prativaktameva. Jivar budani kripaya prativaktameva. Nityantu teshu tavanath gunarbudani. Nityantu teshu tavanath gunarbudani. Bhagavan, Deha Arbudani, kindly give me 100 million bodies at once. And in every body of those 100 million bodies, in every body give me 100 million mouths. And in every mouth, give me 100 million tongues. But on every tongue, let 100 million qualities of yours perform a wonderful dance. This, dear devotees, is the request of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur.
O Bhagavan, kindly grant me 100 million bodies at once. In each of those bodies, grant me 100 million mouths. In each of those mouths, grant me 100 million tongues. But in each of those tongues, let 100 million qualities of yours perform a wonderful dance.
Dear devotees, thank you very much for kindly hearing me. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit vidvam sah purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva menahi. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit. It is possible I might have slipped on the path, I might have made a mistake, because human beings, I am an ordinary human being full of the 4 defects that all human beings have. Actually, humans have 18 major defects, Sri Rupa Goswami says. I have all the 18 of them. And dear devotees, if anything was wrong, you are vidvans, you are learned people, purayantu. Please correct it. But yadatra saushthavam kinchit, if there is anything nice, please remember tad guru reva. It belongs to my gurujanas, my shiksha guru, my diksha guru, or Srila Prabhupada, all of his god brothers, all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas from the past, from the future and the present, including all of you are also my gurujanas. It belongs to you. May nahi, it doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. By summary, dear devotees, a few takeaways, because some things will be forgotten quickly. First is, you can select any limb of bhakti amongst the 64 or millions of limbs of bhakti after you have fulfilled your vows to your Gurujanas. Select any limb of bhakti that you want. First takeaway. Second, Sri Rupa Goswami has said, according to your vasana, your desire, you perform bhakti. Third, there are different devotees who achieved perfection through different processes. The only thing in Kali Yuga is everything should be supplemented with Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Fourth, Smaranam and imagination. The Smaranam becomes imagination when a spirit of seva is not there, when it is not done according to the previous Shastras and Acharyas. When it is done in a spirit of seva, Bhagwan descends within the deity of the mind, through which principle, dear devotees? Adidesh. Please remember this most important principle of adidesh. This is the major takeaway from today's talk. You will never have a doubt in deity worship whether this is Bhagwan or not Bhagwan. It is Bhagwan. By which principle, dear devotees? Adidesh. By the principle of adidesh, it is Bhagwan. Never keep any doubt, because rationally you have to make sense of everything, including deity worship. So you can't just emotionally say that this is Bhagwan, but you also need to have a rational basis for it. And that basis is summarized in one term, and I am making you repeat it again and again. Which term is that, dear devotees? Adidesh. Never forget this term, you may write it down. And dear devotees, also, after, just as Bhagwan descends on genuine Harinam, similarly Bhagwan descends when one has genuine spirit of seva while performing Smaranam. Smaranam can be Nam Smaran, Rup Smaran, Guna Smaran, Leela Smaran. We saw all of that in a single verse, and we saw separate examples of all of that. So dear devotees, always remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So do we have time for Q&A, Gaurari Prabhu, or are we late?
We are a little late, but we can take 15 minutes. 15
minutes, yeah. Let's give it to Maharaj first, and then we will.
Hare Krishna. Again, I thank you very much for this enlivening and inspiring presentation. It seems that the key that turns an activity which we do with our incompetent material senses and invites the Lord to appear is the seva mood. I wanted to, in this Sri Krishna-smarana shloka, this is very short. I wanted to just ask you, in general, when we say we do Nam Seva, does this mean we chant the holy name, we sit and we chant with the mood to please the Lord, and maybe arrange programs for devotees to do and so on? This Nam Seva, what do we mean exactly with the word Nam Seva? Is it very inclusive? Is it referring to just chanting the name? And this was only the prelude. When we say Smaran Seva, or when we say we do Smaran in the mood of Seva, does this mean to do like Manasi Seva while we remember, or is just the activity of sitting down and remembering the Lord, is that already Seva? What does this word Seva relate to or refer to here?
Yes. Primarily as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, in this identity we are known as sadhaka. And sadhaka means it is a practitioner's body. And in this body we can relate directly to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this body, like I have masculine body, so I can relate directly to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Masculine or feminine body, if it is a sadhaka body, they have to render seva to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is what Nam Seva, it is done for his pleasure exclusively. Because he has appeared in the mood of Sri Radha and he is suffering pangs of separation from Sri Krishna. to alleviate those pangs of separation, we chant Harinam for his pleasure in the body of a sadhaka. That is our duty as a sadhaka. But when we are on the altar, we have to assume a new identity, because we cannot go on the altar with this current identity. A masculine body cannot touch Sri Radha. Therefore, there is the process of Bhuta Shuddhi, in which the current identity is removed and a new identity is assumed. And that identity we pray for every day. Seva adhikara diye karo nija. Even the Das prays to become a Dasi, because even the Das knows that they cannot climb on the altar as a Das. Everybody has to climb on the altar as a Dasi. Even Bhagwan Shiva cannot enter into the pastimes of Sri Radha Krishna in a masculine body. Even Bhagwan Shiva has to assume a feminine body. Then what to speak of the rest of us? Therefore, in that body, when we perform seva, that seva is directly for the pleasure of Sri Radha Krishna. In the sadhaka body, that's whatever seva related to Naam we perform, maybe uttering Harinam Kirtan, or maybe bringing new people to the path, or maybe giving them some books, or maybe organizing a Kirtan festival. At the end of it all, we should offer it to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, at the beginning there is Adhivas. You know what is meaning of Adhivas, dear devotees? Does anybody know what is Adhivas?
The day before something auspicious happens.
Yeah, so the day before is called, but what is the meaning of the term Adhivas? Adhi means, proper from all directions. Vas, Bhagwan should come and reside here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should come and reside here, Adhivas. So at that point of time, in the Adhivas Kirtan, all the devotees invite. The Kirtan begins with Mahaprabhu's glorification. So Mahaprabhu's glorification is there, Mahaprabhu is invited, and if Mahaprabhu is sitting there after Adhivas Kirtan, the Kirtan is for whose pleasure, devotees? Mahaprabhu's pleasure it is. So there was a verse which I showed last time. I don't know if this is the verse. This was a freshly composed verse which we took a sankalpa last time. Please repeat after me, dear devotees. Yadatra svagitam saukhyam Chaitanyarpanam kuru Dukham tasyat chittasya Santvanaya prayujyatam Yad atra aswaditam saukhyam. Whatever happiness was experienced by you here, Tat Chaitanya Arpanam Kuru. Happiness you can directly offer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Dukkham, some you might have felt some pain, although through the via medium of ras, pain is also pleasurable. But technically we can call it pain. Whatever separation, feelings of separation you experienced, don't offer it directly. Use those feelings to empathize with the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to console him. The devotees, in your heart, feel like-minded to him and understand what he is going through. That itself is empathizing with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So whatever happiness you felt, offer it to Mahaprabhu. Whatever distress you felt, use it to empathize. Feel one at heart with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this way, all our Naam Seva in this body is for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pleasure. And on the altar, it is for Sri Radha Krishna's pleasure. So as a sadhaka and siddha, two different identities, we have distinctions of Naam Seva. So I hope that gives some satisfactory answer to the query. Somebody else? Yeah, we have Bhagavad Dharma Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much. My question is, you quoted the verse from Srila Rupa Goswami of the 9 devotees who have perfected the 9 limbs of bhakti, and among them is Lakshmi Devi. My question is, how is it that we are considering that Lakshmi Devi attained perfection? Was she not eternal? Is she not eternally perfected?
Yeah. So how is it that Lakshmi Devi attained perfection? Is she not eternally perfected? So Lakshmi Devi is eternally perfected, and yet there are new candidates who attain that particular position. In the Brahma Samhita it is said, Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambhrama Sevyaman. Why Lakshmi? You could have said Gopi and the meter would not have broken. You could have equally said Gopi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. So there are gopis who are Nitya Siddha and there are new gopis being added all the time. And Sri Sanatana Goswami says in his commentary to Brihad Bhagavatamritam that those individuals who have recently joined the spiritual world, they have a technical name, he gives a technical name to it. He calls something like Abhinav Pravishta or some those who have just entered into it. There is an exact term for it, I had written an article about it. So those who have just entered into the Leela are also there and the eternally perfected ones are also there. Question arises, if somebody has just entered into the Leela, wouldn't they become different from those who are eternally present and serving Sri Krishna? So the answer is given by Sri Jiva Goswami in Priti Sandarbha. The answer is no, because unlimited bodies are within the body of Sri Krishna, and when a Jiva attains perfection, he takes one of those bodies and assigns that body to the Jiva. So the body has been there in the body of Sri Krishna since beginningless time. The body was not created at any point of time. So even when we go to the spiritual world, a body which will be assigned to us, that body is already present in the body of Sri Krishna right now. So there was no new creation in the spiritual world, but there are they have joined at a certain point of time. So Sri Sanatana Goswami says they are Abhinav. Abhinav means newly introduced into the spiritual world. Sometimes they undergo some training, etc. So Lakshmis are eternally perfected, yet there is an opportunity to become a Lakshmi. Queens of Dwarka are eternally perfected, yet there is an opportunity to become a queen of Dwarka. Gopis are eternally perfected, yet there is an opportunity to become a Gopi. Manjaris are eternally perfected, yet there is an opportunity to become a Manjari. I hope that satisfies you. Thank you. Yeah. Omkareshwar. Gaurari Prabhu, you have to tell me when to stop.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, very grateful for this very comprehensive presentation about Smaranam. It clarifies many doubts. And I have a very small query about normally every day when we do Achman, we sing this mantra Om Pavitra Pavitrova Sarvavastham Katopiva Yeh Samret Pundari Kapsha Se Bhayabhindra Suchi. So in this Yeh Samret Pundari Kapsha, will this also come in the Samaranam when we chant every day this? So
while you are remembering it, you have Smaret.
Yeah.
Smaret is Vidiling. Vidiling is one of the verbal case of Sanskrit grammar. One who remembers, it's an injunction. So Bhavet Kriya Vidhiling. Similarly, Smaret Kriya Vidhiling. You can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says about Vidhiling. It's very important to understand. Please repeat after me. Bhavet Kriya Vidhiling. Bhavet Kriya Vidhiling. Seiha Kaya. Seiha Kaya. Kartavya Avashyai. Anyatha Pratyavaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking about Bhavet. And similar form like Bhavet is Smaret. Okay, you were speaking about Smaret. Yes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking about Bhavet. Both are Vidhiling, same forms. Please read the translation.
Here the use of the verb Bhavet, which is in the imperative mode, tells us that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty.
Replace Bhavet with what? Smaret.
Smaret.
You have your answer. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the answer. Alright, so Vidhiling, must do it. Otherwise there will be negativity. And there is another example of adidesh there. You take water in your hand. Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalismin. So all rivers become present in that water?
Yes.
Yes. By which principle?
Adidesh.
Now you understood. That's very good. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
It seems that the resistance to Smaranam in our line has its birth in like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's mission. He's written books like, Prakrita Rasa Shatadushini and others, where his critiques of other Gaudiyas is that their process is imagination and not authentic. And now it's like like autoimmune disease. And now we've come to attack one another and our attractions and so on to Smarana. So I don't know, it seems like we need some context for why. I'm asking about the sort of historical context for why there's so much strong resistance into this day and like obsession with like the bona fideness of other devotees and how they practice.
Yeah, what is the obsession with bona fideness of other devotees, and why do we have so much of policing in which started with the institutional organized form of religion? The reason for that is because Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he wrote an article called Putana. In that Putana article, he wrote that there are many ruffians who are just willing to exploit newcomers and make them their faithful slaves and servants for their entire life and take them away from the path of genuine bhakti. If we were an informal group not organized under a formal name, like we were just members of nearby villages and we would gather together, you could never have had such a strong system of policing in place. But now because you have given it a branding. Branding means standardization. Whenever you put a brand, you have standardization. And I'll give you a very wonderful example of standardization. I saw a painting where Srimati Radharani is offering laddus to Krishna. There's a painting which I saw in which she's offering laddu. Every laddu was perfectly round. As if made in a mold. But that's not, I have seen laddus, my grandmother used to make laddus. And that's not how laddus are. They have the sweetness of the fingerprint on them. That is more sweeter for Krishna than having a mold-made laddu. But that's what industrialization does even to Krishna-conscious paintings. Srimati Radharani's laddus, all of them are like perfectly round. When in fact there is sweetness to imperfection. And that sweetness should be maintained. So when you have spiritual movements, especially after industrialization, and industrialization came with standardization, and you have to standardize everyone in a single mold, and that mold will have the lowest common denominator of Krishna consciousness within it. You cannot have the highest fruit from the tallest tree in that mold, and therefore everything else, including coming from the acharyas, somehow has to be removed from the newcomer, so that they don't misunderstand it. And therefore you have to have these boundaries in the form of strong words, that don't do this, don't do that, So in this way, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave some restrictions. There is also an article by him where he is saying after 10 or 15 years you should know these things. In Radha Kund, he said that after 10 or 15 years you should know these things, otherwise you cannot perform your artha pravriti, your progress properly. When we are walking on this path, we have to be very careful. Sri Rupa Goswami also has said, Duruhatvat, it is difficult to understand this rasa. Actually, it is difficult to understand. Difficult means we should not try, or difficult means, should we try or should we not try? So the only answer is we should try, but we should follow exactly the path that Sri Rupa Goswami has given and not go here and there so much. So therefore, in these series of presentations, what I am doing is I am trying to follow the exact path, line of thought that he has given for Smaranam, and not take so much from many other acharyas. Just follow him, plain vanilla, Sri Rupa Goswami's line of thought. But it is also important that the candidate should be 10 or 15 years they should have 10 or 15 years of progress. But many times I give such seminars and then devotees come and say, but I don't think it is needed. I think we have everything, within our movement. We don't need this separately. We don't need Sri Rupa Goswami's teaching separately. So why we have everything in the room? Then I understand. I say, okay, all right, no problem. I understand that time is a good teacher. Please try to understand. For some things, time is a very good teacher. So after 10-15 years, they will no longer be the same. They will change. And they will begin appreciating what Sri Rupa Goswami has said. So he said this because society works at the lowest common denominator. For the lowest common denominator, you cannot have all of these things. But since this particular place, Goloka Dham, is not for the lowest common denominator, this retreat is also for those who are willing to go deeper into Sri Krishna Katha. Therefore, the freedom is there to speak like this. Otherwise, in other places, I will never speak like this. Although it is Sri Rupa Goswami, although it is our own acharyas, but I will not speak like this because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has warned that there are some people who will not like, even if you speak from your own previous acharyas. And it is not only in one institution, you will find in all sorts of institutions such people. So ISKCON is not the only institution where you will find such people. In many other institutions you will find it is a common principle. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said in Sri Krishna-smarana, and although you might be knowing Jai Jagannath Prabhu what he said, but I would like to show from Sri Krishna-smarana what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, and here it is. Jai Jagannath Prabhu, you can see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, you kindly read from here.
Subtle discrimination is extremely important for Vaishnavas.
Alright, I'll explain. Sorry, so please allow me to explain it. Subtle discrimination is extremely important because some Vaishnavas paint everyone in the color that they are. Because I am 3 years into Krishna Bhakti, so all of these people should also behave like they are 3 years into Krishna Bhakti. They don't have the subtle discrimination that people may be on different levels of advancement. Somebody may be more advanced than where I am right now. So this subtle discrimination is lacking in them. Okay, please read ahead.
Those who invent social distinctions and preach the unbreakable principles of Vaishnavism while breaking them to suit their needs are said to possess gross discrimination.
Okay, I'll give an example of this. Maybe I'm 3 years old in Krishna consciousness. I look at you speaking good Hari Katha and I come to you because I don't like you. So I come to you, Prabhu, be careful of speaking what you're speaking. And then you tell me, but your Guru speaks. Oh, he can speak. You cannot speak. I hope you're able to understand. Huh? So I am breaking that same principle when it is favorable to me. But for you, I am applying a different yardstick. This is what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, this is gross discrimination. Alright, please read ahead.
This gross discrimination takes the form of the ass, Denuka.
Yeah. So Denuka Sur is also an anartha in the heart. He is telling all the asuras are anartha. So this anartha in the heart is known as Denuka Sur. Please read.
The ass cannot eat the sweet palm tree fruits, and he opposes others' attempts to eat them. The purport is that the previous acharyas of the authorized sampradayas have written many spiritual literatures which people with gross discrimination neither understand nor allow others to see.
Yeah, so this is exactly what it is. They will neither read it themselves and they will not allow others to read it.
To see.
To even see, yeah. One time a devotee told me, I spoke from a literature, I quoted one verse from Ujjwal Nilmani, and it said, you should not speak from Ujjwal Nilmani. I said, why are you selling it on the bookstall then? This is a classic example that you break a principle when it suits you and you forbid a person when it doesn't suit you. This is a classic example of that. So please read ahead.
Sorry, let me collect myself.
Yeah.
As like devotees who are simply interested in the regular principles and under the control of gross discrimination are unable to attain a higher platform.
Alright, so this is where we end. So these devotees, they are simply interested in one thing. What are they interested in? Regulative principles. Follow 20 years, follow 30 years, then you can think about it. Not otherwise. So if you have seen such a person somewhere, alright, you know you have come across whom. Alright, dear devotees. These are the words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. These are not my words. If I would have said this, there would have been a big fiasco. But I can confidently say these are the words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Mahasaya. And it's a difficult, controversial subject matter, and it can happen in any institution. It's not any one institution. It can happen in any institution, in any temple, any part of the world. So we have to understand why some devotee, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's motive was very pure because he wanted to bring many people in the movement. But then later, you said, autoimmune disease. There are people who are also infected with this and they took advantage of that. And they prohibited people, genuine people, from reading literature which are meant for them. So that is what is there. understanding in this regard. I hope that satisfies your question. Thank you. So you pause here.
You can always approach Hari Parshad Prabhu later after the class if you have like a question. And tomorrow afternoon we have a question answer session that is especially there in case you were not able to ask your question so far. But for now we will need to stop. We were just a little update about the afternoon. We really did not thought the sun will come today. We really had scratch of the holy festival, but it looks like Madan Mohan wants to have a little festival, so it will happen at 3:30 this afternoon. We'll start from here in the temple room. The deities will go out on the palanquin and will go in the garden. There we will have little arati, little boga for the deities. We will offer them the colors. And then Hari Parshad Prabhu will give us around 10 minutes of kata about holy pastime or some verses from Gopal Chatur on holy, and then we will do bhajan and we will exchange the colors. It will not be the Braj style of wild. It will be soft. You will get just a very limited amount of color. I mean, if you are afraid of your new dhotis or saris, we have many new outfits in the temple shop.
How about the gali?
Gali are possible only if you know where. So this is an optional program. Please, if you need to chant, if you need to rest, and be freshly rested also for the rest of the program. But if you can, please join us starting 3:30 in the temple and later on in the ground. We will be finished 4:45 or so, because at 5 o'clock we will have the next part with the Vrindavan Bhajan. So take a good meal, good rest. Holy head!
His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu ki
Jai! Prabhupada ki Jai!